The island of Sodor is full of people, and in this day and age, when there's people, there are businesses like a railway, with engines large and small pulling passengers and goods. But like any business, its employees are always looking for ways to boost its efficiency. That was no more obvious than the way private businesses were handling the transportation of goods. Ever since the advent of them, most of the goods have been transported in gigantic metal containers. At first, the yards could manage them and sort the goods into their respective lorries and goods vans, but as time went on, more and more goods have been coming through these gigantic containers, and this was starting to take a toll on both the yards and the engines. One day, Boko was on his way to the sheds when he met a very fed up Philip at Nafford Yard. "Hello, Philip. Is something wrong?" Boko stopped when he saw the condition of the yard. "Yeah, it's these containers. They take up way too much space in the yard and make it very difficult to keep the yard running smoothly." "I see," replied Boko. Boko, could you—" "Philip, oh come on, look at the yard. It's a mess, and we have a schedule to keep." Boko sighed. "Okay, Philip, I'll help you this one time." Philip smiled. "Thank you, Boko," said Philip, and the two set to work at once. That evening, when Boko returned to his sheds, he was both exhausted and fed up. Boko, is there something wrong?" asked Rebecca. Boko sighed. It's nothing, Rebecca, but it's just the yard at Nafford. It's been getting busier and busier over the last few years, and poor Philip and the other shunting engines have been struggling to keep up. Then there are those containers. This yard was not designed to handle all these containers, just normal crates and packages, not these gigantic metal boxes." "I agree," interjected Henry. "In all my years on this railway, I've never seen anything like this." "Indeed, something needs to be done about this," puffed Gordon. The other engines were surprised. None of them had expected Gordon to say something like that. "Wait, what? You look surprised." No, it's just that we didn't think you agreed on the subject of trucks," said Bear. "Well," explained Gordon, "with all these delays with the trucks, it's causing delays with the express, in terms of collecting and arranging my coaches at the platform." "I can agree on that," said Rebecca. The engines all agreed that something needed to be done, but none of them knew what to do. A few days later, Sir TopHam Hatt came to the shed. "Evening, engines. How are you?" "Good, sir." "Even better, sir." "I see. Well, I don't know if any of you noticed, but the main yards at both Nafford and Vicarstown have been getting really busy over the last few years, with all the container traffic." "Well, that's one way of putting it, sir. So, with that being said, I'm currently making arrangements to make a container depot." Sir, what's a container depot?" asked Stafford. "Well, Stafford, it's a dedicated yard where all container trains and trucks will be dropped off and sorted to go into normal trucks and lorries." "I see," said Henry. So TopHam Hatt continued, "It will make sorting the goods from the containers much easier, and will cut down traffic in the shunting yards." The engines were excited, but then a thought struck Gordon. Sir, how will this construction project affect our normal trains, and who will be handling the work at this container yard?" asked Gordon. "Don't worry, Gordon. I will rearrange the schedule accordingly, and to answer your other question, I've still yet to decide that. So, for the meantime, Hank will be handling the construction trains and will be in charge of the container yard for the time being." The engines were excited, but were worried, as knew they could only handle Hank's trains for so long before there would be problems. A few days later, work started on the container yard, so Tom had arranged for Miss Jenny and the rest of the Sodor construction company to help with the project. Hank helped deliver supplies and workers to the site. At first, things went well, but as time went on, that was not the case. Max and Monty, the twin dump trucks, were beginning to get restless, and they were soon up to their old tricks. "Hey, watch where you're going," Sorry, Mr. Oliver, said Max. Hey, that's my line, said Toad, but Max was already gone. Sorry, you two. I'm afraid they're usually like that. Don't worry, I know all about their tricks. Me and Toad were there to help you with the construction of the Harwick branch line. Oh, right. Well, you better be careful, Hank. Don't worry, partner. I will. But that was easier said than done. As time went on, Max and Monty were becoming more mischievous, from leaving before they were fully loaded to crisscrossing the tracks and racing around the yard. It was only a matter of time before the mischief would cause trouble. Right then, driver, all done. And before Monty. Indeed, said Max driver, but before he could say anything else, Monty arrived. Where have you two been, lazy bones? Asked Max. Hey, it's not our fault. A lorry crashed in the middle of the crossing, which caused massive delays. Indeed, said Monty's driver. Soon, Monty had dumped his load of stone at the dump and was ready to go. Well, better get back to the yard. I bet I can make it to the yard first, said Max. Rubbish. We're faster than the two of you. Is that a challenge? Said Max's driver. The first one back to the yard is the winner. You're on, said Max. Ready, set, go. The lorries and their drivers set off. They raced as fast as their drivers would let them. Come on, driver, we're losing them. This is fast as the speed limit will let me go, replied the driver. Max groaned, but he knew the speed limit was there for a reason. The two trucks raced down the road, but as they neared the yard, there was trouble ahead. Trevor was on his way with supplies to the construction yard. The twin dump trucks were racing down the road. They raced around the bend, and there was Trevor. Look out! Cried Trevor. The dump truck swerved out of the way. They raced up and over a hill and ran over some rails. And then it happened. As Max and Monty rolled over the rails, some of the rocks they were still carrying spilled onto the tracks. But there was worse to come. Look out! Cried Jack. But it was too late. The trucks crashed into the new shed. Oh dear, groaned Max. Well, that could have gone a little smoother, said Monty. But then there was more trouble. A whistle echoed through the yard. It was Hank. He was on his way to the yard with a goods train. Oh dear, it's Hank's whistle, and the line is blocked. Alfie's driver ran to warn the signalman and began to wave a red flag, and the signal went red. Hank and his crew saw the flags. Driver, brakes! Cried Hank. Hank's driver shut off steam and braked hard, but it was too late. Hank hit the rocks and came clean off the rails. It was a terrible mess. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. Hank's car telephoned for help, and soon Duck arrived with Rocky, Miss Jenny, and Sir TopHam Hatt. Hank, are you okay? I think so, sir. What happened? Asked Miss Jenny. I don't know. I was just coming down the line with my train, and the signal turned red, and a workman was waving a red flag. My driver braked, but well, as you can see, it was too late. I see, said Sir TopHam Hatt, but before he could say anything else, Jack rolled up. Sir, I think I might know what happened. Really, Jack, what happened? Jack looked over at the two dump trucks. Max! Monty! Cried Miss Jenny. The two dump trucks gulped. They knew they were in trouble now. The four of you! Explain yourselves! Demanded Miss Jenny. The dump trucks and their drivers confessed to everything. Miss Jenny and Sir TopHam Hatt were very cross. Hank, the accident was in no way your fault or your crew. And as for the four of you, interrupted Miss Jenny, I will be having a long conversation with you later. Now you better start cleaning up this mess. With that, the two left. It wasn't long until the mess was cleared. But now, someone had to handle the construction trains as well as the future container trains. But that's a story for another day.